It is Sunday, July the 3rd at about 10:20 in the morning, and I slept late. I wound up not paying attention to my alarm, so there's no time for me to write before having to get the child up and dressed and ready to go for church this morning. I am not a happy pumpkin. So even though I had fully intended to come back from church in the afternoon, get the kid down for her rest time, and then spend an hour or so typing up the previous day's work and getting into the groove in order to write a little bit on Sunday afternoon, it didn't happen. In fact, Sunday was a 0 words word count. I got nothing done. Today, happily, I was finally able to get that previous work typed up, get that word count, and add 90 words to it. That's right. Today I wrote a grand total of 90 words. 90, 90, not 900, not 9,000, 90. It is better than 0, and I am very, very pleased with the 90 that I wrote. So perhaps it's quality over quantity in this particular instance. And I am still pretty far ahead of the game with 20,486 words, I believe, total right now. So that is fairly far ahead of the target hot and sticky number for today, which would be, let me check and see. Today's target would be 17,080 words. So being at 20,497 words, which is what the things that I'm at, then, that's still about 3,000 words ahead of schedule, which is great, except I had 2 days that I didn't write anything and another day that was really low. And so instead of being at 5,000 words ahead, I'm at a little over 3 ahead. And that just doesn't sit well with me because next week is going to be vacation. And I think we're going to do a lot of day trips, which may or may not provide me with more writing time. Because if we're in the car a lot, then I might be able to write more, or I might be reading and taking care of my kid and listening to an audiobook and all of the stuff that you do in the car when you're not writing. However, that being said, I do want to share with you a little bit about what I did write. So some of you may or may not remember that I have recently finished writing a children's book. When I say recently, it was probably 3 months ago I finished it. I don't remember. It was before school let out, and school let out a month and a half ago. So at least 2 months ago, I finished writing a children's chapter book, kind of an upper level children's chapter book that I'm calling Polonius Punk in the Search for an Adventure. And I always knew that I kind of wanted it to be a series. And so the first one set up the relationship between him and his best friend and kind of introduced the characters. And the second one is a continuation where now we know about the family legacy and all of that jazz. But I didn't mean to start writing the second one. I haven't even gone back and started editing the third draft of the first one. So, I mean, there's still work to be done on the first one before I try to think about writing the second one, except that I had the idea and I started making notes, and I've written 1,100 words now, which is really exciting. That first 1,000 words just came out. It was amazing. So remember, this is a very, very rough draft, but I want to share with you a couple of different places that I've started with. So this is the very beginning of the book. Yeah, very, very start, chapter 1. Polonius Vincent Punk V was busy searching through the pile of special things in his treasure chest, looking for a specific piece to finish off Grandpa Punk's newest invention for their club's fort, when he heard someone yelling. Upon closer listening, he determined that it was his mother, and she was looking for him. With a sigh, the boy shoved a couple of gemstones and a computer chip into his pocket and trudged out of his room. Paul, Sarah, could you two come sit with us, please? Mother Punt called from the living room, where she sat next to her husband. The contrast between the two was stark. Dad seemed to sprawl across his dark green wingback chair, his eyes tired and heavy-lidded, grass still clinging to his hair after the morning's mowing session. Mom, on the other hand, sat tall and prim in her own deep raspberry wingback, whereas tall and prim as a 5 foot tall, slightly chubby woman could manage. Slightly further on, with the Finkel twins out of town for the summer at the lake, Grandpa, John, and Polly were the only real members of the club in residence. They let Sarah come too. This is going to be so great, Polly started, before remembering his role as officer and sheepishly banging his small gavel to officially call the meeting to order. Any new business? Yes. Grandpa Punk solemnly raised his hand and waited to be called upon. Thank you, President Polly. He cleared his throat. This is going to be so awesome! I know it's cliche and kind of weird to say that as an author, I am completely in love with my characters, especially when my characters are 9-year-old boys and their weird families. But I am completely in love with my characters. The 9-year-old boys are spunky and sassy and funny. The 7-year-old little sister really legitimately believes that she's a princess and acts like it. And their parents and grandparents are just all phenomenal. I love them all. It's the same way I feel about my dragon series. Whether or not you enjoy the dragon books, whether or not you ever read them, I myself am in love with all of my characters. Some of them need tweaks here or there, but I adore them. And there are a lot of things that I've written that I don't adore that much that you will probably never see, or that was boiled down into a short story and slapped on the blog because the full novelization never happened because I couldn't get into my characters. I couldn't love my characters in the story. And to already be this excited and into writing the second book in a children's series, which I never thought I would be writing to begin with, is just phenomenal. And I probably wouldn't have ever come up with this if it weren't for the combination of trying to do the hashtag hot and sticky summer writing challenge and the hashtag s'mores and mayhem readathon all at the same time. So I was reading a book for that and thinking about how I needed to write, and then it just kind of crashed together into this adventure over here kind of floated and things got twisted and what if, and all of a sudden Polonius Punk and the cruise ship conundrum decided that it needed to be written and it needed to be written now. So, that is amazing. I will probably not dedicate the book to Dalton and Adrian because let's face it, who wants their kids to know about Adrian and Dalton really? I mean, I love you. I love you. Moving on. I have not written anything else on Dragon Book 5 or on Sylvester in the past almost a week now, I think. Um, the Dragon Book, I know it's been a week. Sylvester, it's probably been like 3 or 4 days. But Polonius needed to get started at least. He wouldn't shut up. Those 9-year-old boys are cranky and nasty, and they won't shut up and leave you alone until you do what they want you to do. Kind of like 3-year-old little girls who tell their grandpas that they're 14. Yeah, that happened today. My dad said, "How old are you, Elena?" And she said, "I'm 14. Duh." Yeah, you wonder why I can't get any writing done? That's why. So I have a 3.5-year-old who thinks she's 14 and acts like it. Okay, so I think I've changed the topic suitably, and I'm going to sign off now. I will talk to you guys more about writing at a later but not too far in the future date. And until that time, may your inspiration flow and your words be sweet, or your your words flow and your inspiration piece. It's really late, okay? I'm going to go now. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.